folks, guess where we're going today? This is a hot one. Backstage at the best restaurant in America. This is on everybody's top list of like best of the best. The French Laundry in Yountville, California. You can't get in here. It's like 3 months reservations backed up. Good luck. Today, you're in. You're inside backstage, see how they make this magic happen. Meet the chef, Tom Keller, get his story, and watch this stuff evolve. Stay along for the ride. This one's going to be a fun one.
Pick up ravioli with a consomme on 10, chef. Next, pick up head of the woods with a gazpacho, please.
I've followed Thomas Keller's cuisine since he was in New York at Raquel, and he just keeps evolving. He's really at peak form now. Many feel that the food that he's doing, the food at the French Laundry, and maybe a half a dozen restaurants like it around the country, are as good as anything on the planet today. And that's something revolutionary. American food prepared by American chefs that stand side by side with the best on the planet anywhere.
The taste seems too regular, followed by End of the Woods ravioli, ordering 2 asparagus. Well, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. We're trying to find the best products we can in every category that we can find them. They're fresh as we can find them. Use them for the time that they're really, really good, and not screw them up. You know?
Don't get in the way.
Really, really.
This is a savory tuile with sesame seeds. Inside we put creme fraiche with red onion. And then on top is salmon tartare.
Everyone that comes in the restaurant gets one of these.
As soon as you're seated at the restaurant and you're given something to drink, your first amuse is the salmon cornet.
How do you conceptualize dishes? I mean, as you're thinking, what's your process now?
Well, you know, I think that there's many ways. I mean, sometimes, you know, you're inspired by something, whatever. You know, the bluebird flying across the sky, you know, so, oh my goodness, that makes you think of something, and that's an inspiration. And then you take that and you try to work with it, you know, and you conceptualize it, and you try it a couple times and see if it works. Other times, it's, you know, it's just finding something that you really like, that you're really comfortable with, you know, and presenting it maybe in a more modern way. I was telling Michael Ruhlman, who was one of the authors of the book, how, you know, oysters and pearls. And I said, it's logical, Michael. And he said, how's that logical? I said, well, you know, you got pearl tapioca, you know, and where do pearls come from? Oysters, you know. And he said, well, that's not logical, you know. Well, I said, well, it's logical to me, you know. So, you know, you define logic. That's perfect, chef. This is perfect. The sauce now, perfect. I came up here visiting one Monday. They were closed. I walked on the property. I looked around, and it just kind of just touched me. This is it. This is your restaurant. This is the place you've always been looking for. This is the 3-star French country restaurant. And it was real destiny. I mean, it was, you know, it was meant to be. It was fate. You know, I said, I had no money. I was out of a job. I was out of my element, which was New York. I was kind of known, you know, both in negative and positive ways. Known for not being able to control costs, known as a, you know, kind of a good cook with a lot of emotional outbursts. Nonetheless,
a young chef,
right? A young chef, a young immature chef. Yeah, I mean, they're all around us.
We were all one once.
Yeah, as you grow, you realize that that's not the way to do things. Yeah, so you got truffles to shave, right? You got truffles to shave.
In looking at the plates at the French Laundry, you can't help but see Thomas's respect for classical French cuisine. There's references on almost every plate. But where he's made changes, he simply made it more modern, more up-to-date, a little bit lighter, and the flavors are extremely focused and clean. Talk to me a bit about the ingredients. What comes to you to cook? How is it out here on the West Coast?
You know, the West Coast, certainly, it's interesting because someone asked me recently about California cuisine, and if I do, you know, if California cuisine influences my cooking, and I said, no, California cuisine doesn't influence my cooking because California cuisine has been defined as something that is fresh and, you know, grilled, seasonal, and I said, well, I mean, that's just, you know, that's logical. You know, I mean, you shouldn't be doing anything that's not fresh or anything that's not local, which brings up a good point. What is local anymore?
Every day I talk to Bobby every day in New York, and he tells me what's around. And I say, okay, you know, set aside 20 pieces for me, and he sets them aside. They go out at JFK at 4 or 5 o'clock yesterday evening, and they're here today at 1 o'clock.
So local becomes anywhere you can get anything within 12 to 24 hours.
Right. Exactly.
Jakarta might be local.
Exactly. And any day it could be. It could be. Yeah. Locality doesn't define by geography anymore.
Clean up a gnocchi with 3 striped bass, soigné. You're cooking it nice and slow, okay? Don't cook your fish fast, Chef, please.
In order to maintain this quality standard, night in, night out, plate after plate, service after service, consistency is the optimum word. These guys know the recipes, know them cold, execute them perfectly, and never deviate.
You have 400 grams of pike face, 50 pounds of bone in each pot, 7 calves feet in each pot. Then you have 3.5 eggs, 1.5 egg yolks. We use 20 gallons of cold water. Bring that up to a simmer. Add 16 ounces of tomato paste.
We make a little gastrique with lemon juice, 25 grams of sugar.
This is all the tomato guts. I spun it first thing in the morning.
Bring it up to a boil and then simmer very slowly. And after that, I'm going to strain this all out and butter it out.
I did that only because I'm going to spin it all back together with some ancho chilies because we want to make it spicy.
Chef, can I ask you a question?
Absolutely, Chef.
How long have you been chopping chives?
I've been chopping chives for probably about 45 minutes.
Coral oil is made with 100% coral from the lobster, which is green when we take it out of the lobster.
Right. Chopping's kind of relaxing.
Let's watch him. He's gonna get into a
45
groove.
minutes, it gets
I've
into
been
a
watching you.
We put it under a low torch, the outside of the blender, and when the coral cooks, it turns bright red.
Who the hell thought of that?
I don't know if it was Thomas Keller,
What the
but
hell's all that all about? Blowtorch on the outside of the blender?
when you
All
cook,
right, we can't do that at home.
My staff, I gotta say, is my strongest asset, and what they do. And I mean, we started with 12 employees, 62-seat restaurant, and we have 72 employees today.
Holy.
72 employees, and
62.
for 62 seats.
For this kind of service.
Right, and you think, how can I make it better? That's my goal. How can I make it better? It's not about how much money I'm making or how much money I'm losing. It's like, how can I make it better? What can I do to sustain life here? Good night, Chef, tonight, right? Just like last night, Chef. Just like last night.
With Thomas's cooking at the French Laundry, there's nothing superfluous on the plate, nothing that doesn't belong there, nothing that's just garnish or accoutrement for garnish's sake, even down to those little powders that he sprays on the plates on the way out.
red onion powder, spicy paprika. We have mushroom powder, dried shiitake mushrooms.
Okay.
And they're powdered in a coffee grinder. Citrus powder is a very nice powder.
I'll see this stuff.
This is lemon, orange, grapefruit, and lime. Zest, caramelized onion powder, Vidalia onion, sweet Vidalia onions. We have Vermonte, which is a standard melted butter. We use that to reheat vegetables. Crayfish broth, which is crayfish stock reduced down to a gloss and creamed out. We keep vegetable stock on hand for thinning out sauces. And over here is truffle juice, which is used in a couple pasta sauces, and we also use that for the foie ravioli. Truffle custard sauce is veal sauce with the addition of chopped black truffles, truffle oil, and a little butter. Fried Spanish capers accompany the skate this evening.
2 lobsters in the window, Chef. You need to have the mise en place in order to be able to serve the people. So the mise en place is necessary. What's happened in modern cooking is that we've become shorter cooks, is that we take primary cuts of meat, primary cuts of fish, and we just saute them. And that is a lot of modern cooking because it allows you to do things a la menu. But the part that we enjoy, is when you talk about cooking, you're talking about long processes. You're talking about like the roasting of the lamb necks for 9.5 hours, and the technique, the temperature, watching the temperature, knowing when to take the fat off as it's rendering out, knowing when to baste it, knowing when to cover it up, understanding the smells and the sounds, and that's cooking. Now we'll take that product and we'll mise en place it into a situation where we can cook it in 6 minutes or 8 minutes or 10 minutes or 12 minutes or whatever it takes, because that's restaurant cooking. You have to be able to
service.
Yeah, at service.
But 9 hours to get there.
Right, 9 hours. The mise en place of it is the most important part, and being able to use different techniques in your cooking and create different characteristics by using those different techniques really gives you more than just, I'm just a short order cook. And the reason you want to keep it basting is because you see all that foam going on there. Yep. That's still a slight emulsification. So as long as you can keep the butter emulsified, it's not going to burn on you. Therefore, you're going to keep the fish bathed in an emulsified solution That's going to keep the flavor of the butter more integrity than if you just let it cook like that, and the butter's going to burn, and milk solids are going to burn, and it's going to, it's going to have a. So that's the purpose of basting. Besides getting it, keeping it encased in fat. But as long as you have foam like that, you've got a partial emulsification.
The tasting menu at the French Laundry is almost done in a Japanese style. 12, 13 courses of just a bite or two each. Thomas believes that after the third bite, you really stop tasting anyway. And when you get right down to it, what better way to eat than just a couple of spoons of something absolutely cooked perfectly, and then on to the next thing. This is a real treat.
One of our biggest compliments is when somebody comes in and says, "This reminds me of," and they'll tell me of this wonderful story of a restaurant somewhere else, you know, whether it's in our country or in Europe or, you know, in Asia, this memory that they have. You know, they remember that one place where they had, and this reminds them of that. So I can only hope that, you know, we create those memories for people, and they go out somewhere and say, you know, this reminds me of the French Laundry, because there you've been successful. It doesn't matter about, you know, the dollar that you made or, you know, or any of that stuff. It just matters, you know, you've touched somebody to the point where that's a memory for them.
Well, the French Laundry. Now, what am I supposed to do? I mean, I'm afraid to boil water after walking out of that place. I mean, I don't do best of lists. Don't like them, don't believe in them. But if I did, that's got to be like near my top, you know, one of the half a dozen best restaurants in America. I mean, they're just kicking it there. Food was astounding. And again, with that kind of food, like when we cover these restaurants from time to time, you can't do it at home. You just can't do it at home. Look how many guys he had on the line. Look at what the mise en place involved. I mean, forget about it. That's why you go there. And good luck if you go there. I can't get you in. I can't even get in. You know, like 6 months to get a table. Good for Thomas Keller. He's really, really hit form, and the food's beautiful. So we're going to play with something. You see that thing he did with the crab, what was it, soft shell crab, a little like a po' boy kind of a thing, where they got this beautiful big soft shell. I mean, I love those things. $3.50 a piece, I eat the whole thing. You know, the head, the tail, the wings. I love them. Take the lungs out and all that. But anyway, he cut the thing down to about the size of a quarter, and then he had it like on brioche with some tomate fondue and some microgreens, and it looked killer. It was about like 2 bites. Absolutely beautiful 2 bites. I mean, I guess that's what he does, and that's why you go there, because the flavors are outstanding. Well, we're not going to do that. We're going to do something, though. It's kind of like have fun in a riff. Instead of the ultimate soft shell po' boy, how about a shrimp and jumbo lump crab meat burger with onion rings? You know, kind of like roadside stand, only I'm like the real roadside stand and he isn't. He's playing around. First thing we're going to need to do to make this today is make lemon mayonnaise, because we're going to serve the little crouton, little toasted bread with the crust cut off. We're going to have the shrimp burger on top of that, and in between, we're going to smear some lemon mayonnaise. Let's talk about making mayonnaise at home. It's easy to do, and now eggs are much safer, so I don't want to hear from the anti-egg lobby out there. Eggs are safe. There was a long time when they didn't want restaurants to use fresh eggs, but now apparently they're saying it's okay again. First thing I'm doing, actually, you know what I'm going to do first thing? Hold on. I'm going to suggest to anybody that makes mayonnaise that's flavored, make it a day ahead, because it takes about a day or two for the esters from the zest to really permeate the mayonnaise mix. All right, we're going to get this and just get it a little smaller. All right, and in she goes. We're going to add a little bit of mustard. I'd say that's maybe a tablespoon and a half, just to help give me a little bit of base here. And now we're going to add, whoops, that's going to break. Here we go. That went in. My hint, and the reasons one of these eggs are so soft, when you make mayonnaise, any of these egg-based sauces, it's best to have everything be the same temperature. So my oil is room temperature, my eggs have been out of the refrigerator for a half a dozen hours. I want everything at the same temperature, and that's room temperature. If everything's cold, you've really made a difficult assignment. So these eggs have been room temperature, they've been out of the fridge all day, and that's kind of why they were as soft as they were. All right, mayonnaise 101. We've got your egg yolks, we've got the lemon juice, we've got a little bit of mustard. Now I'm going to drizzle this oil in a little bead, nice and slowly, especially in the beginning, until I begin to get the emulsion to catch. You can almost never say too slow, but too fast, the fat won't, the protein, which is the egg yolk here, cannot handle all that fat in one shot, and it'll just break, and it looks kind of like scrambled eggs or curdled something or other. Doesn't look right. Eggs are sort of miraculous this way. You know, it's one of the only things on the planet that can emulsify oil and water, and that's really what mayonnaise is. That's what emulsion sauces are, is you're suspending oil in a liquid. See, the oil's not so easily incorporated because this is beginning to get tight, meaning that the eggs are telling me they're hitting their limit for how much they're going to absorb, and I'm probably going to stop before I go too far. Shrimp Burger 101. These are just regular little, I didn't buy them big, I didn't buy them fancy, because I'm going to grind them up. First thing I'm going to do is peel them and save your shrimp shells, because put them in a little bag, put them in the freezer. You can make a really great shrimp stock just with these shells, some oil, boom, saute and give them some color. Add water, reduce it down, add a little more water, reduce it down, and about 20 minutes later, if you reduce it all the way, you've got a really tasty shrimp broth, which is a great little base for, say, a pasta sauce. We're going to devein these because it looks to me like some of them had a little bit of schmutzy in them. You're rolling, are you? You thought I was kidding. This is my shrimp shell bag. See? I'm not kidding. I get them and I freeze them. And every so often I'll chisel a hunk off and I'll make a really nice sauce. Like if I'm making shrimp with pasta, simple, you know, garlic, little basil, blah, blah, blah. And I want something good in there, and I don't want it to be like all fatty, like just butter or olive oil. Shrimp stock, delicious. Takes 25 minutes to make. We did that on one show already. Buy the book. What book? All right, this is jumbo, well, this is jumbo lump. It says it somewhere, it said on the lid. Usually, this has the fewest shells in it. I actually usually don't buy jumbo lump. I usually buy back fin and schlep my way through it. But I bought jumbo lump because it was the best stuff they had today after I sniffed around. And this is how I clean crab meat. I just go through it. Last but not least, let's pick some coriander, and I don't want any stems. Remember, we were just in the French Laundry. I can't let you down. No stems, man. Thomas will have me, he'll have me doing compost. Out of the kitchen, you're compost man for the next month. Oui, chef. Now I'm just passing a knife over this because I don't want big chunks of coriander in here, just little ones. All right, cuisine art, shrimp. First we're gonna pulse the shrimp. That's enough, I don't wanna over-process them. Now I'm not gonna add all this crab meat. That'd be a waste of crab meat. I'm gonna make something else with most of this crab meat. We're just gonna put a little bit in because it's gonna be tasty. That's why, a little crab meat, and I'm also gonna put in the coriander now. And again, I don't wanna over-process this. All I wanna do is get it to pulse and catch. You'll see what I mean in a minute. Where's my lid? Salt and pepper. You know, you need salt. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to get some back in a second here. Some fancy pepper. This is smoked habanero. Yee! All right, that's it. That's all I want to do. Look, looks like ground meat. Huh? Get it? Shrimp burger. Now, here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do. We got the boigas. You know, we'll take them off. Put them down here. Make it easy for everybody at home to see. I've got this here. I'm going to wet my hands because anytime I make meatballs or anything like that, it's easier if your hands are a little wet because you'll find that the protein won't stick to them as much. And that, it's a shrimp burger. See? I wasn't lying, folks. Shrimp burger with crab meat. Again, wet my hands, go in. Why don't we take this blade out? What do you think? Blade out, good idea? Yeah, good idea. Okay, burger number 2. Oh, they look good. Onion rings are easy. Buttermilk. Pour into mixing bowl. Done. Onion. Any kind, I don't care. You want to spend a fortune? Buy expensive ones. I don't know, you know, these, to me it's an onion's an onion for this kind of application. Here, where's my little knife? Let's do this the right way. We're gonna cut them just like you'd imagine. How about like that? Boom. Into individual pieces so there's no big clumps. Good.
You bread them in anything?
You'll see. You'll see.
You're not telling me anything.
Well, why should I tell you? You go find out like the rest of them. Go watch the show. Go watch the show. Give away the secrets now. We'll tune into something else. Maybe there's some sports on. I don't know. X Games or something. All right, so now I'm going to toss them. Look, I want the buttermilk to coat them, so I'm going to kind of just push them down in there and let them sit in there for a little while. Deep fat frying. You know I love this. Look how fancy. All right, two things with deep fat frying. One is get a pan that's wider at the top than the bottom. If the sides are even, the problem is if you put something in that's really hot, it's going to boil over. So it's always better with a fat fryer to have it be shaped like this. You know, the top is wide, the bottom's tighter. This is not a great example, but it qualifies. This is canola oil. And what I'm looking for is 350 degrees. 350 is good. If it's a little hotter than that, I'm not going to worry, because when I start putting the onion rings in, the temperature's going to go down. And I think we're going to hit 350 and probably get to 375. All right, that's fine, because when I put the onion rings in here, it's going to cool off with the introduction of onion rings. All right, we're going to toss them in the flour. Just like this, make sure the flour coats them. And then just like you see in the restaurants, we're going to fry them. How do you know they're done? They're done when they're golden brown and crispy, and not before. Meanwhile, same time, let's get the shrimp burger in the pan. A little oil, pan's hot. We're only going to cook one of these burgers because we're only going to end up plating one of them up, right? So, boom. In the pan, burger's fired. Just like Mommy used to make. And we'll get the next batch in right behind it. I'm going to do this. Now I'm going to put a little lid on her. What I don't want this thing to do is dry out on the bottom. I mean, really, the shrimp, you don't have to cook it. It's very light. So, a little steam, keep the lid on it. Boom. Let's push the cooking a little. All right. Getting close. Here we are. We're back. Thomas Keller. No yelling. This has nothing to do with your restaurant, okay? I'm playing. My kitchen, I can play. Little mayonnaise. Ooh la la. Kind of looks lemonish. Ooh, oh, didn't that look good? Come on, folks. You got to be honest. That is nice looking mayo. All right, we got the mayo around. My God, it looks like custard. It's good. Then we're going to put some lettuce around. A little color, whoops, that's upside down. A little here and there kind of thing. A couple of more pieces here. I want to make this really cute because they see this out in the Yountville, they're going to sue me. I think we're there. The burger itself on the top. And then, I've salted these again, folks. I have to tell you something. When they came out of the fryer, I salted them again. How's that look? A couple more, but I'm not done. I'm not done yet. Holy mackerel. That's looking good. But look at that. Look how crisp. This was the one I was in love with. Now you can see why. All right, that's, oh my Lord. I'm doing tall food. And, clean up the plate a little. You want dots? Huh? You want dots? I'll give you some dots. Dot. Dot. Oop. Dot. Gotta go 4 dots there. Make it 5. Make it 5. I want 5. All right. And we're gonna do 5 on this side. I got dots. I got onion rings. I got stuff happening. All right. I'm not telling you what these red dots are. Just let it say they'll go really well with the onion rings. Well, how's that? I like that thing. I mean, is that ridiculous or what? All right. Before we close that, what are you going to drink with this? What am I? All right. How about? Don't think of beer. Don't think of beer. No. Vouvray, maybe an off-dry Vouvray, like a demi-sec, or maybe a wine that I love, which is a Pinot Gris from Alsace. Great grape. Pinot Grigio in Italy. Same around, different names, different places, different styles. But Alsatian Pinot Gris is wonderful. I also like it with cream sauces, which is strange that would go with this and that. But anyway, French Laundry is amazing. You've got to try it. Supposed to be New York 2003, is that it? A. Time Warner building. I can't wait. Save me a trip across country and hope I can get a reservation. Thomas Keller, you're the man. Great kitchen, outstanding. No, jokes aside. And, this is the shrimp burger. What can I tell you? You do your thing, I make shrimp burgers. Whatever. I'm going to eat this. Until next week. Yep.